are now on page 101, Tractate Bava Kamma. It was a gabbai, the usher of the synagogue, that ordered from a fellow Jew, a friend, was an expert in wood part. He ordered from him a shulchan, a special bima, the table for the synagogue. So a huge difference between the old time gabboim and new time. The new ones, they always check brochure and check prices and check on the internet, right? The old time, he trusted the fellow. So what did he do? The gabbai, he went for, let's say nowadays, he went to Home Depot or one of those places, he bought a lot of pieces of wood, and he gave it to that fellow, to that expert. And 2 months later, the truck came in. It looks very expensive, looks very beautiful. They pull out, and lo and behold, horrible. It was a collection of pieces of wood, looks like leftover, different colors, the most horrible, disgusting thing you can imagine. The coloring, the pieces, everything else. So the expert came to that gabbai and he said, "Pay me." The gabbai said, "What should I pay you for?" He says, "I did a job." He says, "What do you mean you did a job? This is a lousy job." So he said to him, "Look, you have to tell me the truth. This is a synagogue. What do you do?" He says, "I have several canceling orders from customers in many different colors that left over in my basement. So I collected all the colors and painted the wood in a mix of different colors. And then they take pieces of wood with my employees from all different, and that's the product that come out." So he said to him, "Obviously you understand that that's what we are looking for." So the other guy said, "Look, this wood itself, the market of the wood change. Meaning, it's not, when you bought it and you pay, for example, $500, now it's $700. So you have to pay me for the difference." The guy said to him, they start arguing. What do you need to pay? The gabbai said, "I'll pay you only for the difference in the blight, the difference in the reduction of the value of the wood. And because what you did is a lousy job and you take it left over." The other guys want to get paid in full. So what do you do? It reminds me another story of a fellow I know well. He bought a pair of tefillin. And he bought a pair of tefillin from someone. And 2 years later it turns that he bought it as a Rashi. And it turns to be Rabbeinu Tam. And then he was forced to buy another pair of tefillin because he did already several times Rabbeinu Tam. So he's now need to do Rabbeinu Tam all the time. He bought another pair of Rashi. And several years later, he checked and it was another Rabbeinu Tam. And not just that, it was from 2 different Sofrim, the Yad and the Rosh. One followed the Taz, one followed the Rambam. Right? So the question is, that you need to get back, and how much you need to back, and how much the compensation needs to be. So here we are, page 101, the top of the page. So, Kuf Aleph, as we said, at the top of the page, Tanu Rabbanan, הנותן עצים לחרש, לעשות להם כיסא, ועשה בהם ספסל. So a person who gives the carpenter wood, and he gives the wood with the understanding that he's going to do something. He asks to make a chair, fashion a chair, and guess what? He did a bench, and vice versa. So the בסדר, מאיר אומר, נותן לו דמי עצה. Remember the story with the gabbai and the carpenter? So it said, the carpenter is considering a gazlan, and as we said, by the shinui, by the changing the status, he is the owner now. But therefore he needs to pay him the money, the value of the wood. רב יהודה אומר, לא, אם השבח יתר על היציאה, נותן לו את היציאה, ואם היציאה יתרה על השבח, נותן לו את השבח. So he said it all depends upon what exactly the enhancement. If the enhancement exceeds the computed expenses, so you need to give him the expenses. Otherwise, you do the other way around. Because Rabbi Yehuda holds the moment that the expert, for example, in this case the carpenter, shina, he changed the way that the owner asked him to do things, so he will not acquire that item that he received, he only gets the value. So that's the expenses, that's the hotzaot, and you treat it as a schir yom. It's like the daily employee. So the truth is, la halacha, we paskin, we rule according to Rabbi Yehuda. And I would like to share with you from this Gemarrah. We have here, I have the, thank you David for this Gemarrah. It's a Koran. So I'm reading here from the translation of the Rambam. Hilchot Schirut, chapter 10, and Shulchan Aruch Shel Mishpat 306. One who gives wood to a carpenter to fashion a chair for him, and instead he fashions a bench. Or if he gives him wood to fashion a beautiful chair, and he fashions the ugly one. If the value of the enhancement exceeds the carpenter's expenses, the owner of the wood pays the carpenter for his expenses. If the expenses exceeded the value of the enhancement, he pays only the value of the enhancement. That's basically follow Rabbi Yehuda, as we said, halacha follow Rabbi Yehuda. So now we go further with a tzeva, with a wood that have the color, but it's already nispag, it's already dye within the wood. Ibalu yeshevach samanim al hatzemer, or ein shevach samanim al hatzemer. So the question is, the enhancement which dye provides to the wood is substantive, which means the dye is considered a separate entity from the wool, it dyed or not. So Rashi used here the word klomar. He said klomar chazuta miltai or lav milta. The problem I think Lanyudati, I think Rashi have the issue of the makeup, the external appearance is mamashi, is substantial or not. If it's mamash or not mamash. Because you have the appearance, the makeup of the wool. And the Choshen Mishpat, the Shach in the Choshen Mishpat in 363 said, again I'm reading it from the Koran, it's beautiful. They said, they bring also the Sma, if one robs another of wool and dye and then proceeds to dye the wool with the stolen dye, is obligated to pay only the value of the wool, assuming that its value did not increase due to the dye. If the robbery victim seizes the dye wool, the court will not interfere, as no conclusion is reached in the Gemarrah with regard to halakha in such case. If one robbed another of pigments and wool, then converted into dye, and then dyed the wool, so according to the Sma, is liable to compensate the owner for the pigments, but according to the value of the time of the robbery. Same way, if one robbed another of dye and used it to dye his own wool, he is obligated to reimburse him for the dye. Basically, that's the Gemarrah, and you see it also the Rambam, Ilchot Gzela V'Aveda, chapter 3. Anyway, so that's, I think by this Shach, we understand the Klomar in Rashi. That's the idea that Rashi said, Chazut Tamil Tahi. So the Gemarrah dig in, Hey Chedame, Ilema de Gazal Samanin V'Dakinu V'Tranhu. So he basically left it in the water, and he wanted to create the color of the water. וצבע בהם. If you look at cars in the old days, so you want to color the car, so you leave it for a certain time to dye with a special water, and then they stick it in such a way with the, how do you say, differentiation or whatever, the air, and together it stick on the car. But anyway, so now Bala Samemanim can go after the rubber. So that's the Marsha followed Tosfot here. Anyway, so this Gemara said, remember we talked many times, even someone who stole a car, so he is responsible. That's the idea of kinyan shinui by halacha. So anyway, regardless, he needs to pay the money. That's the way Shita Mekubetzet hold also. Even you don't have mamashut. Lo tzricha de gazal samanim shruyin. So you have to say that he robbed another pigment that have already been socked. וצבע בו. Mai. So again, יש שבח סמנים שעל גבי צמר? דאמר להב לי סמנאי ותשקלניתו? או דילמה אין שבח סמנים על גבי צמר, דאמר לי לך גבי ולא מידי. So Rashi here again have כלומר. And Rashi said, the same way, the חזות המילתאי וכדאמר לי, וכמהדר לי צמר, וכמהדר לי סימנים, כלומר, בהחשבה לצמר כמהדר. סמנים, the Bach said. So again, the big question is how far you go with the enhancement. I think that's what struggled in Rashi. So he needs to pay him and doesn't need to pay him. The Pnei Yoshua have Ma'alach here in Rashi. The whole idea of chashivut, how far you go with the enhancement and how it changed the status the moment it's there, meaning you cannot retrieve it in that sense. Amri. ואי אין שבח סמנים על גבי צמר ממצא יאמר לי לך גבי ולא מידי נעים עליה אבל היא סמנן דאפסידין too because I lost. He is responsible for the lost. אלא לאח גיסא אין שבח סמנים על גבי צמר בא לשלום אלי או דילמה יש שבח סמנים על גבי צמר ואמר לה כמן כרמח שלקינו. It's like הרי שלך לפניך, it's before you, you can take it and that's it. So the Shulchan Aruch hold, based on this Gemarrah, that it's already, the Samanim was shruyim b'mayim, that was already soaked in the water when he stole it. So otherwise he could not acquire them. But anyway, shaklinu b'may shakli. So the Gemara asks, what do you mean when you said shaklinu? How exactly that happened? Bitzfon, that's a special soap. Tzfon aburi me'abar. Hashava lo avid. Those old days, right? Cannot retrieve it. So here you have to say that there are two different people. He robbed one person of wool and dyes. So and dyed that wool with those dyes. So it's already, as we said, it's already dyed when he stole it. And he returning the dye wool to him. So now the question is about the enhancement. יש שבח סמנים על גבי צמר, כמה הדר לי, סמנים וצמר, או דילמה אין שבח סמנים על גבי צמר, וצמר מהדר לסמנים לא מהדר לי. אמרי, תיפוק לידי, עקר לי נעלי בדמי. So you derive the halacha from the fact that he increased the value of the wool for him. As dye wool is more expensive than undyed wool. And as a result, even if the robber has not returned the dye, he reimburses the owner for it when he returns the appreciated wool. So they said, ודין מה שאין שבח סמנים של גבי צמר, וצמר מעל לסמנים לא מעדר לי, אמרי טיפוק לידי עקר לנעלי בדמי. לא צריכה דזל ציבה. You have to go that it's the dye is depreciated. So again, you hold the dye as an independent entity. So the robber returned the wool and the dye. Otherwise, he need to reimburse the robbery victim for the value of the dye at the time of the robbery. That's one way. He said that he dyed the basket with the dye, so the dye does not increase the value of the dye item. Ravina Amar, remember the years we are in yeshiva, I'm back about 40 years ago. So the Magid Shiur used to put a chart and show us this difference in the chart. Some Gemorahs have charts. Do you have charts in your Gemorah? No? No? You have charts? No? No. Okay, anyway. Ravina Amar, אחאב מעסקינן כגון דצמר דחד וסמנים דחד וכעתי קוף וצווה להו צמר באח סימנים. So again, it's just the hypothetical idea, but it said the concept is that they have the wool that belonged to one person and dyed that belonged to another person, and a monkey came and dyed that wool with those dyes. So it's not the monkey, it's the point that is separate entities here. So יש שבח סמנים על גבי צמר דאמר לאב לי סימנים גבח נינו, או דילמה אין שבח סמנים על גבי צמר ואמר לי לך גבי כלום. That's the basic quandary. So now the Gemara tried to bring up shots of all of that. And brings the, by the way, the kofa, Rashi said in two ways. He said the basket and monkey. Anyway, Tashma, that's a Mishnah in Tractate Ola, chapter 3, the first Mishnah. Beged shetzva'o beklipei ola. So we know that the first 3 years of the tree, the produce prohibited to derive any benefit. That's the Torah, book of Vayikra, Leviticus 19, verse 23. So the Torah prohibited only the peirot, only the produce, not the rest of the tree. But the Gemara in Brachot 36b said that also the protected, the shomer, the part that protected the produce, like the layer, have the same rules of Ola. So beged shetzva'o beklipei orla. So the garment that one dye, with the dye extracted from the peels, from the fruits that grows on the trees during the first 3 years. So that's prohibited to derive benefits. You have to burn it. That's the Mishnah in Shmura 33b. So they said, Alma chazuta miltai. So it means the appearance, you take it as a significant matter. So that's part of Gufa Isu. Take it as a part of the Isu. Tosfot here have Malach. What is the Grama Isurana? How exactly do you value that beged? Anyway, Amarava Anaa nireh la'inayim asra Torah. Torah said, הרי אם לא יאכל, אין לי אלא איסור אכילה, מניין שלא ינמי ממנו שלא יצבע ולא ידליק בו את הנר, תלמוד לומר בר אל תרמוך אותו את פריו, הרי אם לא יאכל, ורבו את כולם, תשמע, בגד שצבעו בקליפי שביעי תדלק. So it means, מראה, appearance, יש בו ממש. So the Gemara said, שהנעת עמדה אמר קרא, תהיה, the Torah used the word קודש תהיה לכם, so it means the sanctity of the Yovel, of the Jubilee, Bahavayata tehe. It retains its status as sabbatical year produce despite any changes to its form. Page 101b. So another view in regards to appearance. So Rav Tani Tnan, Rami Tnan. That's a Mishnah in Ola, chapter 3. Beged shesvor beklippei Ola yidalek. A garment that one dyed with dye extracted from peels of Ola must be burned. Alma chazuta miltai. So it means you take it as appearance, you take it part, it's considered significant matter, and the dye retains the status of olah. And you see a contradictory source. They said, said that if you have a quarter of log of blood from a corpse that would absorb in the floor of a house, so every vessel of the house is ritually impure by virtue of being under the same roof as the blood. So how you come? You say the opposite, that is pure. So you have to differentiate between vessels that were in the outset and vessels that came at the end, after the blood has already been absorbed. So there's a few halachot here. First, the Rambam. The Rambam said, Ilchot machalot asurot, a garment that was dyed with dye made from peels of olah must be burned. Also the Rambam said, in Ilchot machalot asurot chapter 10, you see it also in your Shulchan Aruch 294, all fruit that a tree produces during the first 3 years after its planting is olah, and it is prohibited to derive benefit from any part of such fruit, including the peel. Now, so the Rambam also said in Chot Shmita V'Yovel, chapter 6, it is prohibited to dye wool using the peels of produce from the Shemitah, from the sabbatical year, and then receive payment from the dyeing process. So now the Gemara said, the Mishnah continued, if a quarter of blood that was absorbed in a house, nivlea beksut, absorbed in garment. So it said, ro'im, you have to look, you have to examine. If you wash and the quarter log of blood emerges from it, so it's impure. Otherwise, if it's less, it's pure. So the Rambam in the Chotz Tumat Met in chapter 4 said, a quarter log of blood in a house renders all of the vessels in the house impure until the blood is absorbed in the floor of the house. Items that were in a house prior to the blood becoming absorbed remain impure even after the blood has been absorbed. And then the Rambam said, if blood was absorbed in a garment such that the quarter log would flow out of it when it was washed, the garment imparts ritual impurity to items that come in contact with it, to one who carries it, and to any items that are found under the same roof with it. If less than a quarter log of blood will flow out of it when washed, it will not impart ritual impurity to items that are found under the same roof, but will be subject to the halachot of an item that came in contact with a corpse. This is because an absorbed substance that cannot be removed is ritually pure. Omar Rav Kahana responded that and he said, Mikulei reviyot shanutam shanukan bedam tvusa derabanan. So here you have the leniency in our lot, that it's the book in Yechezkel 16 said that mitboseset bedamayich, that's the quarter blood that come of a person that was killed. So the big question, he said, bedam tvusa, mikulei reviyot shanukan bedam tvusa derabanan. So that's basically, that's the suffix, that's the quandary. If it's all came out while he was alive, so that's pure. Or you may say that it happens after he passed. So that's Gemarrah Nida 71 said that that's the Tuma only the Rabbanan. Tosfot here asked a question. He said, even you have indirect all kind of consequence all kind. But anyway, there's a me'ir here, שיטה מקובצת. How is the connection between דם תפוסה and here? Anyway, רב הרמת, none, that's a Mishnah in שביעית, chapter 7. ממין הצובעין, ממין הצובעין, that's the type of the species that are used as dye. For example, ספיחי סתים וקוצה, produce that grew without being intentionally planted. So he said, for example, woad and safflower. So as far as the shmita, יש להם שביעית ולתבהם שביעית. So they carry the sanctity of the sabbatical year, and the money exchanged for them has sanctity of the sabbatical year. Alma, עצים יש בהם משום קדושת שביעית. There's wood that it's a type of inedible growth is subject to sanctity of the sabbatical despite the fact that it is not edible. Veraminu, so you ask a question, עלי קנים ועלי גפנים שגיבבן. So if you have the leaves, the reed leaves, and the vine leaves that one pile for storage upon the field, בחווה על פני השדה לקטן לאכילה יש בהם משום קדושת השביעית, לעצים אין משום קדושת שביעית. So you see here wood and anything that is non-food produce, it's not subject to sanctity of the sabbatical year. משנה אמר קרא לאוכלה, ומי שנתו בראש שווים, יצא העצים שנתם אחר ביורן. So according to Tosfot, as we said, there is some type of anah person have. It's, for example, the heating, the chibum. So והעיקה עצים דמשכן, there is the wood that used to provide heat. דהנתנו ביורן שווים, that you have together the consumption and the benefit, because as we said, as Tosfot explained, that the person enjoyed the warmth by the fire of the wood that is burned. So Tosfot read every malach here, but anyway, Amarava 102, stam etzim, unspecified wood, לעסקיים עומדים. So it's for fuel. So the benefit follow the consumptions. So Tosfot said, if a person, אם אדם נהנה מצביעה, שיכול להשתמש בו, if a person drive any benefits, but he can use it, so therefore, צבעים, יש בהם, שיש הנאה וביעור ביחד, that you have both the benefit and the consumption together, and therefore, יש דין של שמיטה. You have the law of the sabbatical year. That's based on the Tosfot.
Shula